This is a low-key great fight right here, Meat. And real quick, shout out to our latest sub. Appreciate you grilling and chilling with the boys for sure. And cannot wait to get your thoughts on this one. Nate Maness taking on Tagir Ulanbekov. And the first thing that jumps out to me is Nate Maness is making his flyweight debut, right? He's dropping down to 125. And historically, this is a guy who used to fight at lightweight. He fought at featherweight. He fought at bantamweight. And now somehow late in his career is expecting himself to make flyweight. And perhaps he does, but we'll see what he looks like because most recently he lost to Umar Nurmagomedov. And obviously, that made sense that he lost to Umar. We know that Umar likely could be a future champ for sure. And he managed to go all 15 minutes, but it was one of those just like start to finish, clear, easy work victories for Umar. But before that, we can't ignore that Nate Maness was on a nice little win streak. I mean, picked up back-to-back performance of the night finishes, one over Luke Sanders, cool hand Luke, and the other against Tony Gravely, who sometimes picks up UFC wins. So some pretty decent performances there as an underdog in both too, for sure. He just ran into too much against Umar, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on this one because Tagir Ulanbekov, I mean, you see the name, you might see Tagir, wow, only minus 210, but he's a fighter who I don't know if he can be honestly compared to like the other guys that run with him. I mean, he's not of the sort of Dagestani breed fighters. He's probably the worst. I mean, most recently he just got absolutely smoked by Tim Elliott, and although he did pick up some nice wins before that, Alan Nascimento isn't a bad victory and is kind of aging nicely. I do worry about the guy that showed up against Tim Elliott, especially as a 2-1 favorite in this one against Nate Maness, who will absolutely crack. We know he's an absolute dog and makes most fights, albeit not continuing that last one, but makes most fights close. So, are you taking Nate Maness in this one, or do you like Tagir at 13-2 as a 2-1 favorite? Who you got?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there on Tagir. Like, I don't know what Tagir showed up the other night versus Tim Elliott, but I will not be riding with that guy because I think Nate Maness is going to get it done. I think he's going to KO him second round. I think it's going to be light work, and I love that he's an underdog. So I'm riding with the dog. You already know, once again, call me a degen, but I can't pass these odds when this should be a pick 'em, or maybe even Nate arguably should be the favorite.
Yeah, I'm with you all the way. I mean, he's going to have the reach advantage, he's going to have the height advantage, and I think he has the striking advantage as well. I mean, I have not been impressed with Tagir's like overall stand-up game, and Nate Maness has nice, crisp, tight boxing that might actually frustrate Tagir in this one. It's tough, we're breaking these down on Tuesday, and we won't see them physically till later this week. I'm very curious to see what Nate Maness looks like at 125. Like, is he going to be absolutely sucked out? Not looking great, and maybe even a Tagir meat bomb can sleep a guy with that depleted of reserves, or is he going to be looking nice, peak, absolutely shredded at 25? I think we'll learn a lot for sure. But if this guy shows up and physically looks capable and just doesn't look all drawn out, I think I'm with you. I think he's going to get the W in this one. I think there's a lot of value at plus 200, and if we're looking at Tapology, I mean, he is getting 37%, so there are some sweaties that are rolling with Nate Maness, and there's even more brown for a Nate Maness KO than there is for a Tagir Ulanbekov KO. So a lot of the community seems to think that Maness will have that stand-up advantage. There is a little bit of copper for that sub Ulanbekov, though. Any chance this fight hits the mat, and if so, could you see Tagir picking up a sub?
Uh, no, I don't know. I really just don't see how this guy even wins, to be honest. I'm very surprised on these odds, but I'm going to try to capitalize on it. But, I mean, I guess we'll find out what the odds makers are seeing. I just don't see it.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe if this fight was at 135, maybe it would be more closer to a pick 'em, or he'd perhaps be getting a little bit more love. But you just wonder with that uncertainty at 25, perhaps that's factoring into the odds makers' decisions. But nonetheless, I'm with you. I'm going to roll with Nate Maness in this one. I like him to win by a finish. And again, pay attention to what happens later in the week. Check out to see if this fight even goes through. Right, this is one of those contests that I could see waking up tomorrow, checking MMA fighting, and texting you that the Tagir versus Nate Maness fight fell through because this just has disaster written all over it. But nonetheless, rolling with Meaty Maness for sure. I like him by finish. Any last thoughts? Are we sharp on this one?
I think we're a little sharp for this sizzle. But yeah, throw in the comments who you got. You taking Mayhem or Tagir?